Good evening and welcome to Season 2 episode of Backwoods Investigations. I am your host, Blimp, team leader for the Southern Illinois Monster Hunters team. And tonight, for our special guest from the E.C.B.R.O, the East Coast Bigfoot Researchers Organization out of Waynesboro, Virginia, is my good friend and dear colleague, Mr. Daniel Benoit. He was on the show tonight to share his encounters with Bigfoot, his theories, and more, and the upcoming E.C.B.R.O Virginia State Bigfoot Conference this next year. Thanks for coming on the show tonight, Dan. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me, Zach. It's so much. It's a pleasure. And now I got to move because you gave out my location.
Oh, I like it.
It's all good. So, but no, yeah, it's great to be here, man. I watch your shows, and man, they look. You get, they're a lot of fun. So I'm glad to be a part of this. And it gets out to a lot of people, and so. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Let's get right down to business. Start talking about yourself. Tell us who you are, what you're all about, et cetera, et cetera. Stage is yours, bud.
Well, I don't know where to start with myself. I'm just if I give you my life history, whatever, you guys will be here all night long. I'm originally from the state of Massachusetts. I was 11 years old when the family moved here to Virginia. So I basically grew up down here in Virginia and got to know quite a bit about the state being, growing up down here. And, one thing one thing I became pretty well acquainted with was the outdoors. Ever since I was, a young kid playing in the woods or going hunting with Dad, I was always in the woods, hunting, playing in the woods. And then, as I got older, all that continued as far as hunting, exploring, and then, it was just life, just coming from where I started at and where I'm at now, it's been one big adventure. And I don't know where to really, my adventure has been, took me in several different directions. And, it's like a lot of people, you got obstacles that come about, and then you go here and you go there, you travel here, you do this, and you come back to this, there's things you've always been involved with, but they, sometimes you get separated from them for a while, and then they bring you back somehow, and there's always something that drives you back to where you started. And not saying that's a bad thing, that's a good thing, and it keeps, but I tell you what, I'm 37 years old, and like you, Zach, a lot of people consider us very young involved in the Bigfoot community, and and a lot of people don't understand that this is what we need in this Bigfoot community. We need we need a fresh line of people here, and I'm not saying let's get rid of all the old dogs, all the ones who have been known in a while, but there's a lot of people kind of look down on younger people is what I'm getting at. A lot of people really kind of, they don't understand. They judge. They a lot of people judge because of age, maybe where you're from. But what little do they know about your knowledge and what you might know. So, I'm glad to be a part of this community. I've seen a lot of things happen in this community. So I don't know. As far as ever since I've been involved with this, the Bigfoot community has been an adventure in itself. I've met all kinds of people from all walks of life. I've dealt with them in several different ways. Good, bad, crazy. Out of this kind of world. But like I said, I wouldn't go back and change not one thing that I've been involved with so far. Everything has been, very good. I don't know, like I said, I know I'm probably rambling as far as all, about that, but, let's see. As far as, just basically, I'm a country boy. I don't know what else to really say. I spend a lot of time outdoors. One thing, let me tell you, as far as me spending a lot of time outdoors, It's not just Bigfooting, as a lot of people like. I truly believe boots on the ground. But last time I'm a country boy. I'm country at heart. And if I am in the woods, it's to enjoy nature. I'm a nature person. I guess what some people refer to as a naturalist, whatever. Someone who enjoys nature, for what it is. Um, you know, I don't know what else you really want to know about me, but I'll let it come back to you right now. I don't know. I can just ramble on with things that may not even make sense.
Well, before I get to my next question, you struck something with me there, and that's where you and me agree on with being a Bigfoot researcher and a Bigfoot hunter hunting for the truth. It's an adventure, and like you and me both agree on this. You go in the woods with questions, you're going to come out with more questions than you did when you went in, and it's an ever growing puzzle.
Oh yeah, absolutely. For the record, like I say, it's a puzzle. Bigfoot research, Bigfoot in general, is a mystery. No one is ever going to have all the answers. As of right now, in my own honest opinion, there are no answers right now. There are no answers. Everything is speculation. And that's and part of that there's no experts. There's no experts in the field of Bigfoot whatsoever. There's people that always come up. They claim there's other people that claim not to be an expert, but there's somebody that always seems to have an answer. But yet they claim they're no expert, and that's what tickles me because they happen to have an answer. What's giving them this knowledge? What's making their information so concrete, so solid? What makes it sufficient? That's what people need to understand. There's no experts, and nobody has any information. Everything that we share, even including myself, it's opinion, speculation. Some of the information, and this goes for everybody that gets out there, boots on the ground, who spends enough time in the woods, who may have experienced something. A lot of it's based off of observation. That's where a majority of what I come up with. It's observation, also conclusion. Of course, we are like, there's very few of us that, they try to take this with a scientific approach. Am I a scientist? No, but there is simple logic that we can use here, with an ingredient touch of common sense, in this world. So, but yeah, regardless of how you approach and look at the Bigfoot research, it is an adventure, regardless of whatever direction you go. So, again, our answers are never going to be there. Well, I shouldn't say never, but as of right now, there's no answers because there's no experts.
Exactly, because someone says, "Well, I saw Bigfoot." It's your word against the other man.
Right. As far as an encounter goes, yeah, that's everybody's word for themselves. Because I've often asked myself that question about as far as what if I ever get the perfect video footage? I was there filming it, but then again, the world gonna believe it. It's the same concept. It's the same thing. We should all believe Bob Gimlin and Bob Patterson. They were the only ones that were there that know the truth. I mean, for those of us who believe that footage, are we being fooled? Are we that deceived? That's a question. That's that we'll never know. But I'm one of the ones who do believe it. But a lot of people don't understand. There's a lot of information behind that film, that footage. That point towards their authenticity. But then again, there's always that doubt somewhere in the mind that we're not. A lot of us have that doubt, but so many people are afraid to announce it publicly. Yes, I'm gonna say I have a doubt about that footage. But then again, I believe in that footage because that footage is what pushed me to go further and to get deeper involved with Bigfoot research. So, am I going to say that's a fake video? No, I'm not going to, because again, what I just said, that's what pushed me to pursue Bigfoot footage in a deeper, approach. It taught me to be more alert about my surroundings in nature. opened up senses that I didn't know that were really there. It put me more in touch with, nature. It made me feel nature, in a way I've never felt before. So, but yeah, as far as, trying to share the truth, only we're going to know the truth for ourselves. Can we share it with others? Sure, but we're not responsible for those who believe us. It's the way I tell people, you can take it or leave it. I'm not going to push you to believe me or follow me. I'm not looking for population. I'm not looking for popularity. This is not a contest. I'm not here, to make new friends, share information, gather information. That's what got me involved on Facebook in the first place. When I was involved with Bigfoot research independently long before I even got on Facebook. Thing is, when I learned about Facebook and learned that there was groups of people involved, man, I was blown away. I didn't realize there was so many people involved. And, and I started joining these groups. And I started, friending people. There was theories being, put out there left and right, and a lot of these theories, I'm going to be honest with you, I was excited about these theories. But, I didn't believe them, and I took some of these theories and considered them, I said, I need to start looking into these. And then over a period of time, you kind of start developing somewhat of an answer. It's like, wait a minute, how am I even considering? Some of these theories are waxing out of this kind of world, So, you do develop some answers. What's real, what could be real, what could be a possibility. So, but getting involved with social media, it's been a good ride. But I tell you what, there's as I'm sure a lot of us see, it's you always have that negativity in there that wants to shut you down, or tries to shut you down. But as far as what we present, like I said, people to take it or leave it for what it is. So, but yeah, you're right, Zach. Like I said, it's been an adventure. It's been a great ride. And I know I can speak for both of us. How it's been bumpy. Yeah, it's just what we encounter along with Bigfoot research. For those for the others involved.
So, like you said, you as a person, as a researcher, they present the evidence. It's the people that are seeing it and hearing it. They are the ones that take away from what they're seeing. They can automatically debunk it for them being a skeptic and say it's not real, or they could take it the other way and say that it could be real. There's no proven fact that Bigfoot exists in scientific community, but people like you and me and a bunch of other people, we've seen these creatures and we know that they're there.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. You brought up scientists, and a large portion of the science community does not believe, but yet there is a portion of it that does. In the field of education, professors and simple libertarians, and that are involved with Bigfoot research. They're involved. There's professors that are involved on a low key. There's people out there that are involved with projects that can't really go public due to their careers, their jobs, their reputations. But there's let me say this. Yeah, there is under this low. I don't even know how to put this. Yeah, there's low key projects involved with Bigfoot regarding the scientific world. Evidence being presented, evidence being gathered, evidence that science does not consider physical evidence. That's going to be turned around and turned around to become considered as real evidence, one way or another, being real or not real. They're not going to. There's projects where scientists is not going to dismiss it and believe it or not. They're going to take it, analyze it, to find out if it's real or not real, one way or another. So yeah, science is involved. in a way that we don't know about. There's privacy involved. Anywhere from foot track, we know Jeff Meldrum's involved. Well, I know some respected individuals. They're well known in the Bigfoot community who are involved with some of these professors that are on a low key who I've had discussions with some of these individuals. And I'm blown away. I'm excited for what's in the works, for what science is trying to do. Science is trying to pull together to reach out to other mainstream science. There's a team of people that want this to be taken serious, which I'm glad to see that. A lot of people in the world, non-believers, skeptics, of course, it's a simple stop. It's a simple marker that, they overlook this. They didn't even consider it to be any bit real. But yeah, as a researcher, we come across various things in the field. I've come across, one of the biggest things out there are structures. I love finding structures. But, I'll be one of the first to tell you, don't believe Bigfoot's responsible for them all. Because I'll tell you what, 90% of them is weather. A lot of these collapsed, falling over the timber and trees that form teepees. I'll tell you, 90% of it is from weather. Weather pushing trees over, moving trees over, where they just happen to collapse. Then you got wildlife. Wildlife is responsible for a lot of damage and destruction. And then, as far as nature, let me go back to the 90% when I say weather or nature. Nature, that can be anywhere from weather, storms, you name it. That's in that 90%. Again, the other 10%, you got wildlife. Bears, bears like to climb the trees, they climb trees so tall, a lot of times a big tree can be formed by a bear with enough weight, momentum, and the way of the bear bringing it down at the top. Either the tree's going to bend from the stretch of the fires, or it's going to snap. But a lot of these trees are snapped all over the top. A lot of it's from weather. But then again, you got, there is that small percentage, that possibility every now and then it opens up another percentage where, okay, you can analyze a structure long enough and careful enough, you're going to look at it and say, okay, this was done by hands. Okay, this was stabbed in the ground in this direction, put and twisted in this direction, along with other. I'm just throwing this up there as an example. Then again, if you come to the conclusion that what you're finding was made by hands, you got to ask yourself, okay, was this human or was this not human? That's another question. There's always, whatever your conclusion is, there's always questions that follow. And then that's the main thing with Bigfoot research. What you're coming out, what you're pointing out as possible Bigfoot evidence, every conclusion you come to, there's a question behind every conclusion. And of course, with a question behind that conclusion, it's like having a form of doubt. You got to be doubtful. You got to be objective. Of course, this is a scientific approach. And that's what makes it more interesting, more fun on my part. I don't know if I may be speaking for others, but on my part, this is my part, and how I conduct the research when I'm out in the field. Because a lot of times people, I do a lot of filming. A lot of people that have seen my field videos know that, okay, he's just walking through the woods. But I'm taking my time. I'm being observant. And of course, there's behind the scenes that I'm not always filming right away. When I come across something, I'll analyze it before I start filming it. That way, I can properly explain to who's viewing what I believe or what I think I'm finding. So I have a scientific approach to things. Over a period of time, I was like a lot of the people that are in the Bigfoot community now. I was quick to assume. You know what they say about assume? I'm not going there. But over a period of time, I learned to become a little bit objective on my own findings. And that's what we need to be. But I learned that the Bigfoot community, excuse my language, but they get butthurt when you try to present an objective view to what they're presenting. Because everybody wants to be an expert. Everybody wants praise. Everybody wants to be that number one. But yet they don't want what they're presenting to be wasted as far as, like counted as nothing. Everything that's presented is counted as something. The thing is, when you question it, people, they don't like it when you question it, because that's where they become butthurt, because they think, okay, you're trying to be objective to what they're presenting. I do it to myself. We have to be that way. We have to be objective. We can't just start snapping photos, posting them on Facebook. That's not going to get us nowhere. It's not. People don't realize that. I could do the same thing like half of these thousands of people do. I could take pictures of the woods and start zooming in and cropping them, and then letting the pixel become distorted and say, look at this guy, look at this clan, look at this group. No, I'm not going to waste time like that. I'm not going to waste people's time. And, it's I'm sorry, but it's a lot. I've done my rants on this kind of stuff, but now I'm sharing what I believe. If anyone's listening, I'm not bashing nobody in general. This is the whole Bigfoot community as a whole, and it goes for myself as well. So, I guess what I'm getting at, over a period of time, I've become very objective to a lot of things. And the thing is, because I take this very seriously, because when I was still freshly involved with Bigfoot research, what got me started was a curiosity, and then more, the interest grew. There was a passion that was growing, and that passion grew stronger and stronger over the years. The passion became, it became a goal. I have a mission to find the truth. We all have a mission to find the truth. We want to know the truth. We want answers. We all want answers. There's answers out there, but it's a matter of time of finding them. I think it's all going to boil down to the answer is out in front of us. There's different ways of presenting the answers and the truth, but the other question is, who's going to believe it? Right. It goes all the way back to what you even brought up. It's going to be our word against theirs. We can present something and leave it at face value for whatever it's worth. So sorry for my long rant right there.
In the long story short, as my previous guest Ed Brown said, be critical of your evidence.
Right. Absolutely.
So,
and that's the thing. Don't be afraid to be objective to your own findings. And, the excitement is where you try to rule out every possibility. And one thing I will say, I said it too. Ed Brown said it last night, and several others have said it. As far as we do have to be open-minded. We have to be open-minded to possibilities. But I'll share the words of Les Stroud. You got to be careful. Do not fall prey to everything out there. Not everything's Bigfoot related. Not everything. Bigfoot is not responsible for what we hear. Not everything is what we hear. There is no species out there that what we think we know about them. But a coyote, for example. Coyotes have several different tones. They might howl. They might, have, sometimes they screech like a fox. A fox has a screech sound, Owls have several different tones. A very common owl in my research area and in the thousands of acres of woods of the national forest where I research, barred owls, very common. I hear them. I've seen them. They're very common for communicating at night, but sometimes their vocalizations sound heavy, like a bass. You got ridge lines, you got mountains. Depends on where they're communicating from. Their vocalizations are going to bounce off of other ridges and mountains, and depends if they're in a hollow, their vocalizations are going to sound deep and heavy. And that's where a lot of people need to start understanding vocalizations a little bit more. I've had people out in the woods hear crazy sounds with me. And, there is a couple, I'm going to be honest with you, there is a couple that have me puzzled. I'm still investigating. I found some, I recorded from years ago. It still has me puzzled, and it's very exciting. But, I've heard all kinds of different vocalizations. I've heard all kinds of howls, screams, and I've had whoops. I've had a lot of it real close. And, like in a lot of outdoors things, I got to hear, one of the cool things I love hearing is the sound of a predator taking its prey. You can hear that scream, little things like that. It's very exciting to experience nature in general. But, another thing, when it comes to my research, and one thing I try to tell people, and it's for a good reason too, Bigfoot is considered unknown, is believed to be non-existent, and, again, we don't have answers. So, one thing I do recommend I tell people, and I've taken it upon myself to be one as well, start researching wildlife. Become a wildlife researcher. Become familiar with wildlife. Become familiar with their tracks, their diet, and where they may, inhabit. A lot of people say, "Oh, I don't have bears in my area." You don't know that. Don't tell me that, because a lot of times, a lot of people, because the bears are a secondary elusive animal. To me, I wish I compared a lot with Bigfoot. So a lot of people misidentify their tracks. There's a lot of comparisons I can get into detail when it comes to Bigfoot and bears, for example. But again, that's where it's very important to become very familiar with wildlife, know their tracks very well, and how their patterns, their behaviors, and try to get familiar with their vocalizations. It's a good starting point, because how can you go out there researching what is unknown if you don't understand what is known? So, again, don't be afraid to learn about wildlife. Get familiar with it. If you think something's in your area, or if you think of a specific species you don't think is there, think again. You could, second guess that. Question. Do some research. Do some digging. For those who get online and that's all they really do, don't be afraid to Google information. If you can't get out in the field, because a lot of people don't get out in the field, and they love watching and seeing what we share, because they don't have the ability to get out in the field like we do. But so those who are considered armchair researchers, my hat goes off to them, because they're dedicated and want to find answers. They do it one way or another. They're online, they're observing what we share, but yet they're on the line, they're looking at information. I get armchair researchers sharing information to me. I was like, hey, what do you think about this and this and that? Because a lot of the information they share to me is, a lot of times, it's old information, but they're trying, and that's the credit I give them, that they're trying to find answers in the way they're able to. So to all you armchair researchers, I love you, and keep at it. So a lot of people look down on armchair researchers, but again, there's people out there that can't get out there and that wish they could. So my hat goes off to them for giving and giving them credit for making the effort.
So there's talking about answers. Here's a couple answers. What about, tell us a little bit about E.C.B.R.O.
Well, the E.C.B.R.O. Well, I'm going to tell you what, as far as what started the E.C.B.R.O., I was in Pennsylvania conducting research, and, I didn't have no group name, I was independent, I was an independent researcher. And later on, after learning about what's online and everything, I wanted to gather more information. And by gathering information, I wanted to start gathering a team, It didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen like that. It took a long time to build it. But, I've been, like I said, I spent time in Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and other various locations. And I didn't get to go up and down the East Coast like I wanted to, but Along the East Coast, I decided this, I'm going to start a team, and that's where the E.C.B.R.O, came about. And, of course, as the E.C.B.R.O, I was pretty, like I said, I was independent, solo for quite a while, even after throwing the name out there. And, but, over the years, we've come a long ways. Seriously, we really have come a long ways. There are supporters, and we have team members, we have supporters, that are all over. I mean, it's actually grown surprisingly, not just on the East Coast, but we have supporters out in the Midwest. We have supporters and team members. We've expanded to Canada. We got people down in South America, and Darina, all the way out in Romania. Big sport out in Romania. Like I said, we got supporters and members that we've expanded quite a bit. Even though we're labeled out of the East Coast, we have people all over the place, and so we may be, like I said, we may be the East Coast Bigfoot Researchers Organization, but our team members have expanded, and we're not going to set the limits to being just on the East Coast anymore. However, there is focuses here on the East Coast. Of course, my primary focus is right here in the state of Virginia. However, as far as apart from doing my own research, I have other team members who get out in the field, who find and come across their own findings. I've gathered reports, I've investigated reports, sightings. I mean, it's grown ever since I've been putting myself out there. The information has grown abundantly, and it's been very rewarding. And like I said, as far as the East Coast and the E.C.B.R.O, it's awesome. I'm proud of what we are becoming after all these years. We've taken a lot of hits with ridicule and mockery, but it's been a learning experience as far as trying to organize a large group that we are now, and especially with upcoming events. We got our first annual E.C.B.R.O Virginia Bigfoot Conference taking place 2018, June 30th and July 1st, and which is also followed by a whole week long of camping. I'll tell you what, this event has been falling together very, very well. It's already become a success, and it hasn't even taken place yet, but it's become a success. And we have several guest speakers lined up and confirmed, booked, and we're going to have a great time. Our speakers come from all different walks of life. We got Native American speakers. We got people from Ohio, Mississippi, Washington State, North Carolina. We got 2 residents from North Carolina. Texas. We got Texas. It's going to be mind blowing. We got a great lineup, and we got 3 locals from Virginia, and we have several vendors set up and plan to be there. Tickets have been selling. People are jumping on tickets right now, especially right now. We have the early bird special going on, and the early bird specials they're only going on to the end of this month. So anybody that's interested in wanting to go, take advantage of the early bird special. Tickets are half price right now. But come January, they're going to go up to regular price. They will go up to regular price. So, for those who may be traveling out of state, you want to attend, and if you're a tent camper, there is free tent camping on site. Especially if you plan on wanting to spend some time out here in the summer. Like I said, after our 2-day event, we have a whole week long of camping. We are having our annual E.C.B.R.O camping expedition following this 2-day event. So, it's going to be a little bit of everything for, both adults and children. So I definitely recommend being out there. Come out here, listen to what our speakers have to say and what they're presenting. Again, they're from people from all different walks of life. Some of our speakers have PhDs, And a lot of these individuals are boots on the ground researchers who have experiences, and so I invite everybody to come on out there and check it out. It's going to be well worth it. You do not want to miss it. And I do want to throw it out there. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, and a big thank you to them who have been contributing in a big way. You had Ed Brown on here last night. Ed Brown, Dan Lindman from Big Truth Productions. They're one of our sponsors. They do have a YouTube channel. Check them out. Big Truth Productions with Dan Lindman. Ed Brown, his YouTube channel. Sit down with Ed Brown. You can find that on YouTube. Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, also is one of our big sponsors. She is the founder of Secret to Everything. You can go to secrettoeverything.com. You can look up Dr. Kimberly McGeorge on YouTube as well. And our other sponsors, Ohio Night Stalkers, Mike Miller and Mike Feltner. They will be live and present with us. They'll be sharing some audio, and they're going to be discussing what got them involved on Destination America on their episode of Terror in the Woods. So it's going to be a great first-year conference. Our conference is taking place in Fishersville, Virginia, at the Augusta Expo. So hopefully I can get to meet all you guys. Come on out, be a part of our event. It's going to be a great time. And, I wasn't going to really officially announce it after the first of the year, but for those who are listening, the host here, Mr. Zach Sterrett, he is our MC. He'll be doing our announcing of our speakers and other announcements there. He'll be MCing our event. So if you get a chance to come on out and meet Zach, the Blimp of Southern Illinois Monster Hunters. It's going to be great having you out there, Zach. So, we got a lot to look forward to. 2018 is going to be a big year for all of us. So it's going to be very exciting. And tell you what, we got people that are working hard because they want to see this become a very huge success. They want to see this take place. They want this to be big. They want this to be a new big event on the East Coast. We have Creature Replica. They're contributing to this event as well. Jeff Byers, a big thank you to him, which, he can't be there, but he's contributing to this event because, he wants to be a big part of this. He wants us to become successful for future times. So he'll be out, hopefully he'll be out there in the future. Because he's got a lot going on this coming year around that time. And for those, don't forget about the Ohio Bigfoot Conference, which is the weekend of May 5th. So the weekend of May 5th, you have the Ohio Bigfoot Conference. And then again, the E.C.B.R.O Virginia Bigfoot Conference, June 30th and July 1st. So if you plan on attending, take advantage of getting those tickets before this month is up. Because again, they do go up double. Prices are only $20, and it covers you for both days. We're gonna have great food on site. If you love barbecue, come on out and check out Sue's Barbecue out of Sue's, Virginia. And then for the adults, we're gonna have Chaos Mountain Brewing Company serving squash ale on site. So it's gonna be a great time. Children 12 and under, they're free. Bring your family, bring your children. There'll be face painting on site, and it's going to be a great time. I'm excited about it. I know several others are excited about it. So, we got a lot to look forward to.
So, a couple months ago, you were a guest on Bigfoot Eyewitness Radio with Vic Cundiff. I listened to both episodes, and you told a little bit about the encounters that you've had. Do go into those, starting with the first episode. Just go as a little bit of a review. With all these encounters and these findings that you've had and your years of being in the field, which one of them really sticks out to you as as I should say, a mental imprint on you?
Well, I'll speak about the one there was one encounter in particular. I wasn't alone. There was 6 of us all together I'll tell you what, this was during one of our E.C.B.R.O camping expeditions, and we weren't expecting for anything to happen. We were about a mile from our camp, and we were down at the lake in the area, and by the time we got out there, it was still daylight when we first got to the lake. And like I said, there were 6 of us, and we paired up in teams. We spread out around the lake, Tracy Arnold was with us, him and his son, me, and Cliff. Oh man, I can't remember Cliff's last name. Oh man. Anyway, it was me, Cliff, Tracy, and his son, and there was another couple that was set up at the base of the lake. And like I said, we were spread out around the lake, and I myself and Tracy Arnold were the only 2 out of the group that actually had parabolic mics, and we were all in radio communication with each other. And we were just started off, kept it simple. We were doing some listening, and as the night started to fall and it started to get dark, that's when we started picking up on some vocalization, some movement up on the ridge behind us. We had one couple, Kimmy and Darren, that were there. Well, we communicated down to them, and now keep in mind, Kimmy, she gave off a vocalization. We've heard some of her previous vocalizations, and we were pretty impressed. To give you an idea of her vocalization, she's kind of like a female version of Bobo. So that should kind of give you a little bit of an idea, a little look, And then keep in mind, being down at the lake, you're surrounded by, you got mountains on each side of you, ridge lines around you. And so we radioed down to Kimmy. Kimmy, all right, go ahead and give us a vocalization. And I tell you what, right after her vocalization, of course, after, you would hear an echo after her vocalization. After the echo had died down, we were surprised. We weren't expecting nothing, but it was a shock to all of us. But we got a return response. We got a response. It sounded like it came from the mountain across the lake on the other side of it somewhere. And, which was very impressive. Now, that was the only vocalization we actually got that night. However, after hanging out around the lake, we all regrouped, and, we all had our headlamps on. So we started working our way back towards camp, so we had a good mile hike back to camp. But, we were taking our time. We were walking on the forest road, talking at normal tone. We weren't trying to be quiet. And, I'm kind of walking up ahead of everybody, kind of like looking back and forth, looking in the woods. And at one point, we had some eye shine to our right. So, okay, there was deer. The deer was on the right side of the forest road. And so we kept on walking. And then up ahead, up on the left side, something caught my attention. And, I'm going to be honest with you. At first, I did not realize what it could have been or what they expected it to be. Now, keep in mind, in the National Forest, we have some of these little yellow plaques, metal plaques that are on some of the trees. They're not common. They're spread out in certain areas. But when my light was reflecting on something. And at first, I thought it was, okay, it's something on the tree reflecting. But as I started to walk a little closer, I stopped and looked again. And I'm staring at it. And as I'm staring at it, I'm starting to realize, wait a minute, that's not a reflector. And then when I realized it was a set of eye shine, it blinked at me. Now, when it blinked at me, it was sitting a little low. And Tracy Arnold was the first one right behind me. I said, Tracy, we got eye shine up here. And I pointed right at it before it disappeared at that second. Because first thing the thought that ran through my head was, is that a mountain lion? I don't know. The first thought that came through my head was a mountain lion. And as he got up, Tracy signaled to the other people, like, hey, we got eye shine, guys, come up here. And then we all got into the area, and then as we started looking in the woods, we saw that same eye shine again. It it was probably about a good 40 feet from the edge of the road where we were at. And we noticed it was low. Now, at that particular time, we did not realize that that ground from the edge of the forest road sloped down like at least 7, 8 feet. And it was a gradual slope, and then the ground levels off down there. But that got our attention when we were observing the subject, large yellow glowing eyes, and the thing is, the subject was swaying back and forth, like side to side. I was like, we were like, what the heck is that, And not long after that is when we picked up another subject just so many feet away from it, to the right of it, as we were looking at it. We saw another set of eye shine. Same color eye shine, but a lot taller. We're talking about roughly, we estimated at that time, about 6 foot tall. So here's a small subject still swaying side to side. Here's another subject around 6 foot tall, staring at us. And then we also noticed it blinked its eyes. So for a few minutes here, we're kind of stuck here, we're puzzled, because we're not seeing no body or shape. We're just seeing these eye shine. And then, we were kind of like getting a little excited here, But the thing is, we didn't know what we were observing. And then, for a moment, one of us, I don't know if it was just me at first or what, but a couple of us did actually start to notice something else. And behind the bushes, just to the right of the 6 foot subject, there was another subject. And we noticed we believed it was crouched down. Because we saw another set of eye shine that was starting to raise up. And as it raised, we noticed the eyes were in a slight angle, and then it turned straight looking at us. But let me tell you, that set of eye shines went over the top of the 6 foot subject. And keep in mind, like I said, we're kind of like not aware of the proper measurements of the height. We were estimating, because that eye shine was almost level with us. And now, that tallest subject right there is what really got me to, I don't know if I'm speaking for all of us that were there, but I know one thing, going back and forth, observing all three of these subjects here, the small one was still moving around, but it slowed down a little bit. The 6 foot subject was still standing there. Now, the tallest subject, this is where we got special movement out of this one. This is where I picked up a silhouette. It turned its head to its left, and appeared to make like a step or two, and then it turned back and looked back at us and blinked its eyes. As it turned its head, it was a big brown shape of a head, and you can see where it slightly sloped over to where the shoulders might have been. Now, this was keep in mind, this time at night, it was after midnight when we were observing this. Tall subject, it blinked its eyes, and then when we realized, we come to the conclusion that we believe without doubt that we were observing squatches. Because eventually they all turned off and disappeared further into the darkness. My guess, if I had to guess, because the silhouette, only making out a silhouette, shaking the head of the silhouette, being tall, a rounded head, and, these subjects had been dark haired. They had been, their hair, the fur had been jet black. And then after we observed them for a good little while, when they disappeared, we were walking back to camp. And then, one of the other things, they thought that we were being parallel. You could hear snapping in the woods. You could hear, from whatever is being stepped on. And, the whole time we were there, well, let me back up a little bit. By the time we got back to camp, we couldn't go to sleep. We were so excited about what we were seeing. We were trying to debunk everything. We were seriously trying to debunk it. And we were trying to rule out. I said, no, there's no way it could have been this. There's no way it could have been that. It was, we're talking about, we had a 6 foot subject, and a subject that was around almost 8 foot tall. Excuse me. And when we got back to camp, me and Tracy realized something. We both had backpacks on. All right? And in our backpacks, we had night vision. We had night vision binoculars. not once during that whole little event there, that situation, did we think about pulling our night vision out to have a clear look. The thought never crossed our minds, you know. So, you know, again, we're still, you know, we're kicking ourselves in the butt. We're still trying to think of everything possible that it could have been. So, you know, jump ahead, the next day, we went back to that very same spot. And we got into that location. That's when we noticed how much the ground really dropped down. We walked down there and got into this spot. A couple of us got into positions where we had one of the guys stayed on the road. We did a height comparison, and that's where what we estimated was pretty accurate. Yeah, there was one that was about a good 6 foot tall, and the other subject was, you know, when I raised my hand, I'm about 6 foot tall, and when I raised my hand up, you know, I had to stretch a little bit, and that's where the comparison where the eye shine was, you know, of the tall subject. So, you know, we're looking at, you know, we definitely had a 6 and an 8 foot subject and a juvie. You know, we looked around the ground. The ground was all clumpy. You know, there was some thorns around there. We pretty much explored the whole area. We looked everywhere for any of the signs. You know, like I said, we try to debunk everything. You know, we try to, you know, we did the height comparison. Until this day, we're convinced that what we saw, what we encountered was a family of squashes. You know, because I'm going to tell you what, in that same area, in that same woods, I've camped across the road from this couple spots where you could camp over there, and I've camped across from there. And a majority of my vocalizations, tree knocks, happen in that very same area. I've had an encounter one time during hunting season by myself, and I was camping out, and there was no one else around. There was no other campers, no other hunters in the area. I was camping out overnight there, and I had a spotlight in my hand, and I didn't have it turned on. But when I walked out to the middle of the road, you know, I walked out to the middle of the forest road, and that's when I turned my spotlight on. I started shining in the woods. Now, over to my left, I heard, you know, I didn't see it, but you hear a deer run off. I scooped up a deer. Well, as I panned my spotlight over to the right, that's the next thing I heard. I had my heart up in my throat because it sounded so close. What I heard was bipedal steps walking away from me. They weren't running, and it wasn't a slow walk either. But I tell you what, every walk and step, every step it took was a thump and a crack. You know, it was like just a heavy step. Boom, 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 boom. But it was a crunch and a thump. You know, so heavy. I didn't know what to think. I was like kind of like, holy shit, you know. I started walking backwards with my back facing camp, the spotlight facing the woods. My other hand reaching down to my belt loop, pushing the unlock button on my on my blazer that I had at the time. And so you know, just in case, you know, but nothing ever came out. Whatever it was going away from me. So, you know, I when speaking of a deer and then hearing that, you know, I was thinking, okay, I might have disturbed his dinner, you know. So I'm gonna go back to camp here and get the fire a little bit, you know, going here a little bit better, and keep my shotgun close, and you know, have that easy access to get in my blazer if I have to, you know, because I was all alone. There was nothing else around there, you know. So, you know, just those couple of incidents were probably my most memorable one. But the one, there were 6 of us encountered together. That was one I'll never forget. I still think about that day. And after everything I've experienced, anywhere from tree knocks, vocalizations, you know, all in that same area. You know, it's just everything I keep finding. I found tracks in the area before. I've gotten tracks that I've cast within the general area. But everything I find, it points towards, you know, Bigfoot, you know. So, you know, I'm convinced to this day that what we encountered was Sasquatch, you know. You know, like I said, even before I started really researching in this area, I've had sighting reports, you know, during the daytime, you know, up the road in the other direction. So, Where I research my area, it's been promising. I mean, I've had, I've had responses to my tree knocks. There's vocalizations that you'll hear out there that will blow your mind. And, one of these days I hope to get some definitive proof or evidence. Again, it might be evidence to me that I may find incredible. But, like I said, it's what we talked about earlier. It would be my word against any other, I mean, it would have to be something that, take it or leave it, But yeah, as far as those encounters, I still think about them. They were exciting. Yeah, the one was I was a little nervous, when I was by myself. The other one, I have to say, honestly, we were very excited. Because Cliff, the guy Cliff that was with us, this whole time, he was actually filming the whole situation. And none of us knew it at that time. But when he uploaded the video footage, when we watched it, you could see all of us getting excited about what we were seeing. Some people claim they could see the eye shining. I mean, I personally could not see the eye shine in the video, but some people say they saw it. But again, you can see our behavior, our activity. You saw that you can see how excited we were that we were actually seeing something. So, but yeah, those moments will never be forgotten. Like I said, they're still thought about till this day.
Out of those two encounters, especially the one with the 6 of you, did you guys feel like it was feel threatened at all? Was it being observant? Did it show any kind of a aggression towards you guys? Throw anything? Make any kind of a grunt? Or show any kind of behavior that made you guys feel threatened at all?
No, in all honesty, that's the thing. So we actually, as we walked after we had that encounter, I was actually feeling relaxed. I think a couple of us come to the conclusion that they were just being observant like we were to them. Didn't feel no signs of threat or aggression whatsoever. Like the one I had by myself. I mean, I don't know. It didn't get off no grunts and vocalizations. It went away. It's like it didn't want to be seen or bothered. But the 3 that we encountered, they were most definitely curious. It's like, if they didn't want to be seen at all, well, why would they stay there? They heard. There's no doubt that they heard us talking. We weren't trying to be quiet coming up that forest road. And like I said, they must have been curious to check us out. It's almost like if you kind of picture when we first saw the small subject that was close to the edge of the road. It's like almost like a parent telling his kids, "Hey, go check this situation. Go check it out. What's coming up the road?" And then it's like it runs on like, "Mom, it's a bunch of humans." Kind of like you kind of always think about that. Kind of like visualize that. It's like, all right, just stay right here. Don't go any closer. It's kind of like how I felt about the situation. Like they were just curious enough to let us check them. They wanted to check us out, but they let us check them out. So, I mean, that's how I felt about it. Like I say, it was just a curious situation, and they want to observe us and see how we would react to them. And I believe to this day, if it's the same group. I believe there may be others, but I believe if it's the same group that works that area. I mean, I believe there's several times where I believe they know. I try to give off, like I don't know. It's like I believe they know when I'm there. I try to give off, a simple vocalization, or I have my own, thing I say out there on occasion. I don't do it often, but sometimes I say something out there to let them know if they're in the area, if they hear me, that I'm there. Sometimes I'll give off a vocalization. I'll give off my own whoops. I'll whoop out in that direction. So back during Thanksgiving weekend, me and my daughter camped out there a couple days, did some hunting. And we both got to hear some vocalizations coming from that direction out on up on the ridge. And I was like, that's, I was talking about owls. It almost sounded like, to me, it almost sounded like an owl with a deep voice. A lot of people believe they imitate owls. I mean, I'm not going to rule that out. I'm not going to dismiss that thought or theory, but that could be a possibility, because what I heard was, I don't know, it's hard to describe, but it was like, we've heard it more than once. It was like a, oh, kind of sound, but it was, some owls, they might hoot, or, but this, I don't know, it didn't sound like the normal owl that I hear out there. It could have been something else, but then again, not seeing it, you can't make that proper judgment.
Right.
But it was something different. I've heard several different vocalizations from that area. I mean, I've heard whoops from that area. I've heard screams from that area. And, but, I don't know. I mean, I was surprised to hear anything as cold as it was, because I believe in colder temperatures as the weather gets colder. I believe they stay in a certain particular area where they kind of say bunker down on the most part. I mean, like us people, we're only going to stay in the house for so long to stay warm. We got to go out and get food. We got to go shopping if we want to eat. If we don't have food in the house, we got to go out and get it. So, yeah, on the most part, I believe they stay bunkered down. But I'm sure they get around. They have to move around if they want to eat. So, but yeah, I believe during the colder weather, the activity does slow down a little bit. I don't know. I want to spend more time out in, out in the colder weather. I believe, I want to, like I said, it would be slim chances of finding stuff. So, I might want to, I have some time coming up here very soon, which I hope to get out there and do some exploring, see if I can come across anything. So, I don't know. But I tell you what, the best times in my area for activity, to hear or find things, is usually around the springtime and early fall. They're usually between the months of May and the months of September. Always been those 2 months have been probably the best months out of the year for as far as me finding and experiencing. And usually around those times of year is usually when I have my outings. And I've had others out there with me that got to experience vocalizations and activity with me. And I mean, yeah, you can get activity all throughout the summer, but those 2 times a year, I spend a lot of time out there around those times a year. So, yeah, it's like I said, it's exciting. It's again, it's always rewarding. You get things happen when you least expect it, and it's awesome. So
sounds like it.
Absolutely.
Well, I do appreciate you coming on the show, Daniel. It's been a long time coming. We're supposed to get you on in season 1 and finally got you on for season 2.
Absolutely, man. I'm glad I've been able to get on here. It's been your show. I like what you do with your shows, man. You do a great show, and it's very fun and very informative. Keep on that and keep on doing it. And it's how people get to hear. By doing this, you're spreading awareness, and that's one thing I'm big on: is spreading awareness. Introducing others involved in the field to those who may not be familiar with them, and that's one thing I like to do a lot. With the different podcast shows and the radio shows that we do, So, yeah, for the record, Squash Zone Radio will be coming back very soon. So, for anyone who wants to check out Squash Zone Radio, they can go to blogtalkradio.com and look up our radio show. Check out the archived episodes. Squash Zone Radio. I have a few old episodes uploaded on my YouTube channel. Anyone that wants to go check out the YouTube channel and subscribe to that is YouTube channel E.C.B.R.O 98. So there's several different videos under there. You can go on the playlist and do that. Find me on Twitter, Daniel Benoit, E.C.B.R.O. And that's basically about it. And don't forget about the conference coming up here in Virginia, the E.C.B.R.O First Annual Virginia Bigfoot Conference. And anybody wants information on that, you can go to your search bar on Facebook and enter in that same name, E.C.B.R.O, First Annual Virginia Bigfoot Conference. All our speakers, all the information you need is right there on the site. So if they have any questions, you can message me directly. If you're interested in being a vendor, there's vendor spots available. They're very limited. I think we've got a couple left. If you want to be a sponsor for our event, contact me directly. You can contact me directly on Facebook or email me at ECBRO98@gmail.com. And that's about it. I'm sorry, I'm keep rambling.
You're more than fine doing that. Before we get off here, is there any little bit of wisdom that you could impart on the viewers tonight?
Oh my. Well, one thing I will share again, be objective. Stop going along. This is one thing I see a lot of. And now, let me put it this way. Everything that's presented on social media, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is, stop going along with the rest of the crowd. Stop assuming. Be more objective. Do your research. Get to know who you're praising. Get to know, you might be, that's the thing. I've got friends and stuff that, just because they're a friend doesn't mean you have to go along with them. I tell people, if I present something, don't go along with it. Don't believe it because I'm presenting it. You may trust me. I want people to trust me, but be objective to it. And that's how we need to be. We need to be a little bit more critical on things. Because there's people out there that I feel that are destroying the credibility. So for everybody out there listening, when you browse in these Bigfoot groups and what's presented by individuals, question it. Don't be afraid to question it. You know what? I've questioned quite a bit, and I've been blocked. Oh, well, that should tell you something about that person. But they're not willing to take the, if they can't answer you back because they don't want to be caught in their BS, or they can't handle wanting to know the truth, because people ask questions to find information out. That's what it's all about. People want to learn. That's why questions are asked. So, again, don't be afraid to be objective. Question everything that's presented. And do your own research. Don't go along with the crowd. So, and just because somebody is involved in a video documentary, involved with other well-respected people, doesn't make him a credible source for information. Just because it shows a picture and a figure in a video doesn't make it real. Because I'm not going to get it. I think there's something I was going to bring up. I'm not even going to go there. Because I've been asked questions about the recent Todd Stanley video. Do your research on Todd Stanley. That's all I have to say about that. But yeah, that's about it. Just be objective and do your research, and don't go along with the crowd. Stand out. Be your own person.
It's the best way to do it.
Absolutely.
Well, it's getting that time to get out of here. It's been good hanging out with you, Daniel. I'll see you on the trail, my friend. Have a good night.
Sounds good. Thank you again, Zach. I really appreciate being on here.
All right, you have a good one. I'll see you later.
All right.
I'll see you in Virginia.
Absolutely, my MC. Yes, sir.
All right. Good night, buddy.
Night, man.
Bye. And that does it for another good episode of Backwoods Investigations. I do appreciate everybody tuning in on the live chat and listening in tonight on YouTube. Until then, this is Blimp saying stay squatchy, my friends. Be sure to tune in next time for my next guest. Until then, this is Blimp from the Southern Illinois Monster Hunters team saying like and subscribe to E.C.B.R.O 98. Be sure to check out the E.C.B.R.O Virginia State Bigfoot Conference coming up this next year. If you guys have any evidence or encounters you care to share, find us on Facebook. We'd be more than happy to talk to you. Until then, keep a wary eye out, keep your ears in the wind, and your nose to the ground. Stay squatchy, my friends. Blimp out.